later, Exodia is summoned. To 1, defeat better, and we move on to Shizu. She has a chance to have Black Skull Dragon, Infinite Thunder Dragon, a good chance for strong monsters that can be boosted by movie, as well as Spellbinding Circle and Hermes Feathers. Since I can't stop. Start hitting. Snipe. And set it in defense. Shizu gets her 8% chance. I get 1 strikes a second. Which is absolutely perfect. Shizu does a trap. It's correct. Guy, well, which is just what I needed this stuff. It's this 12 is something Shizu can't get. She has to do something I'm very relieved with. She summons that. Skull next turn. As long as the Skull Binding Circles get activated, still is being able to stop 2 Skull Dragons is a promising strategy. I found myself coming up. So if I can deal with BSD, surely I should have triple. So a Dread, aside from Commons Ace Monster, having Stop, Defense, Dark Bolt, Rush Guard, and Shadow Skull. I need Secret Arts and some sense what I assume is the shield. I draw this with Elf and episodes is looking. 13 cards drawn, and I may have Silver Bow Arrow because love some insurance. Best thing kind of tries is using Pencil through Stone, Yamatron, and Mario Pack. Just no longer 39 cards. Man, gotta love Season 1. Oh yeah, I was a Prime Millennium item streaming this channel, so I came back home. Well, now that I've done that, I can get one more chat with Simon Moran about the new Exodia support based off his cards and wind up the hell out. Anyway, I'm making my way back to Metropolis to catch up with a couple old friends and have some friendly duels before I can save these hiding cowards from the pages. Jonas II surprisingly can have a lot of magic cards, but aside from consistently having Red Eyes 1 Dragon, he doesn't really have any attack threats since the stage of the game. Starting things off in Egypt Right at his play, infused into Dark Witch, wastes him with flow. Jonah destroys my Witch with Continuity. Not a good draw, but at least if Wire can bail me out, especially when Jonah fuses his Knight with Flame Piper to make Vermilion Sparrow, which is still weak enough to trigger my trap. I don't want to see an Exodia piece right now, but I have some life points to spend while I draw something better, so I set Yanni. Jonah summons Swamp Battle God to attack. Nothing yet, I just set Silver Bow and Arrow. Jonah does that dumb fusion into Vermilion Sparrow again, fine. I always like seeing Raigeki, but now it's the time. I made a potential misplay here because if Jonah happened to have his Red Eyes Black Dragon, he would have done exactly 40 damage. Instead, it's a Flame Swordsman, and I have one more turn. I draw another piece, and I have no choice but to go all in on Awakening Elf. 2 good cards make 2300 defense, which stops his current monsters, and its Sunstar gives it a boost against potential Red Eyes. Turns out this was exactly enough to stall Jonah, and a few turns later, he gets obliterated. Tiana II really isn't a threat. She can have Stop Defense and a few good cards to boost her fairies, but that's it. The strongest base attack monsters are Dark Witch and Megami at 1800, so pretty weak compared to the defense we can put on the field. A turn when Nekagala 2 was able to stop Tiana for a few turns until she took advantage of Guardian Star advantage with Omni-Beam. To be honest, I don't know what I was doing in this duel. Could have used Silver Bow and Arrow on Nekagala 2 and Tiana wouldn't have been able to do anything. The turn I drew Saiga to Dark Clown, I could have set it and activated Yami to boost it while weakening all of Tiana's monsters. Now I do this next turn because I have no other option, and it was enough to stall Tiana out. But what I'm saying is, this wasn't my best performance. I gotta tighten up the screws if I hope to take down these mages. First, I have to beat this Mage Soldier so I can pretty much through Simon's room. Mage Soldier's deck pool is all over the place. He has so many cards with a 1 out of 2048 chance of being in his deck, it's confusing why he was even programmed in such a way. He also has no threatening magical traps, and no good cards to boost his monsters. His ace monsters draw Gumo, the same as Villager 2 and 3, so this isn't going to be difficult. I boost Lamoon with Book of Secret Arts, so I'm already stopping Jiragumo. Mage Soldier sets a monster. I set Raigeki. Mage Soldier tries his best to threaten me by fusing Water Magician and the thing that hides in the mud, Magma's Sand, and by using that Mercury Guardian Star, getting my Lamoon. I dump and fuse a Dark Witch, then boost it with Book of Secret Arts, and set it to Neptune so it's withstand and get that pesky Guardian Star advantage. And that was enough to stall him until a victory. The consistency of the deck is making these duels end rather quickly, and I love it. Watching the CPU scramble while it beats its inevitable end is pretty fun. Mage Soldier defeated, I'm free to raid Simon's room. Find a map to the Forbidden Ruins and head there immediately. Instead was set up shop here and pleased for me to buy his line of children's toys. I quickly realized he's selling cheap counterfeit garbage and ignore him to find where the mages are posted up. Once I jot down the locations, I head to the first and the easiest of the shrines, the Ocean Shrine. The Ocean Mage has no magic traps we need to worry about, and it's only a problem if it uses the twin-headed Thunder Dragon because it gets a boost with the Oomy. Once I get something on the field that has more than 300 defense, he's completely helpless. Start off removing his field boost with a boost of my own. Ocean Mage isn't screwing around and fuses Thunder Dragon with Electric Blizzard to make Old Faithful and attacks directly. Cut my hand in a way that I keep his full health and boost it once, which is enough to stall against THGD. Thankfully, he doesn't activate an Oomy and sends a monster. I get rid of Invisible Wire and boost his full health again. Not safe yet, though. He uses Oomy, Twin-Headed will be stronger than my elf. He sets a magic card. I dump all monsters because all I care about is another equip card. He sets a monster and destroys my Wing Egg Elf. No equip yet, so I make another mystical elf. Mage, Ocean Mage destroys immediately next turn. There it is, a Book of Secret Arts, and the duel is over. This is the third attempt at the Ocean Mage, by the way. He kept using Twin-Headed too fast for me to set up the other attempts, and because of this, I'll be grinding in free duel real soon. High Mage Sekmetin is the go-to first duel because he's the easiest of the 5 High Mages due to his large deck pool making him inconsistent. However, this Exodia challenge makes him a potential hurdle. He can have Raigeki and Arctic's Feather Duster as well as many equipped cards to boost already strong monsters. My hope is that he sets either his wall or shield to buy me time so I can get my own defensive monsters on the field. I start things off making the field advantageous to myself. Sekmetin does what I was hoping for and sets a wall. I use Tenderness with Wing Egg Elf, Mystical Elf, and boost with Silver Bow and Arrow. Sekmetin sets another wall, giving me more time to boost Mystical Elf further. I dump cards and put Saggy in defense. He sets a magic card. I get another equip, but decide to set Raigeki, which looking back is definitely a misplay. Sekmetin can use Powerification on a crab turtle to attack with Mystical Elf. The High Mage blows my Raigeki away with Arctic's Feather Duster and destroys my Clown with Roaring Bushes Snake. After he uses Sleeping Lion and Laboon, up 2, he uses Boulder Tortoise, Kairu Shin, and Kaminari Attack to make Old Faithful and destroys my Gal with his snake.
In you have.
I use Bow and Arrow on Mystical Elf, and the duel is over at this point. I took all 40 cards to summon Exodia, and during that time I managed to keep up Mystical Elf's defense to 5500. So now that I have a High Mage up, it's time to go into free duel and farm the bitch. He can give us a lot of good cards that are welcome upgrades if we manage to snag them. The problem is that winning campaign was a pretty big fluke. So yeah, I won several times and even got a winged egg of new life, but I'm losing more than I'm winning and I don't like these odds. I need to get more cards that have immediate stopping power. How do I do that? I can't get SRA text. Well, it just so happens that Ishizu is the only duelist in the game that drops Widespread Ruin into BCD ranks. Iva can drop Acid Trap Hole into BCD ranks as well. Since Ishizu is the easier duel, I'm gonna farm her. Win 4 drops Wasteland, which could be quite useful later on. Win 14, I get Elf's Light, another equip to boost the females and fairies in my deck. Win 25 gives Widespread Ruin, so now I have something to stop strong monsters. Instead of going for Kaiba to get Acid Trap Hole, I go back to Sekmetin because of that Elf's Light drop, and I think that plus Widespread is a big enough upgrade. Still lose a bunch, but I win a little more, and that's enough for me to deal with wasting my time on all these losses. Win 13, I get Spirit of the Heart, but essentially another Mystical Elf, so that's great. Win 24 gives me the big wall, which I put in my deck regardless of cohesion, because you can't just disregard a card with 3000 in either stack. Win 35 drops Awkward. I can use a few of the cards we already have in our deck, so it's a one addition. And Win 48 grants another great card, Illusionist Faces Mage. Now the deck is looking mightily consistent, so let's go back to campaign and see how far we can take it. Desert Mage is certainly easier than the Ocean Mage. His strongest cards are Mystical Sand, Brachioradus, and Great Method Goldfind, with his other cards being focused. Doesn't have any magic traps that we need to worry about, so this is going to be easy. I start by setting my new beautiful Widespread Ruin. Desert Mage sets a trap card as well. I equip Book of Secret Arts to Illusionist Spacious Mage, and now the only monster who can attack over it is Great Mammoth Goldfind with its Moonstar. Sets a monster. I boost Spirit of the Heart with Elf's Light and Silver Bow and Arrow, so now Desert Mage also needs a Mystical Sand with its Mercury Star, and since I have a Widespread Ruin already set, there's no chance Desert Mage is getting through all this defense. He did attack with a Mammoth, but that was it. 3 pieces drawn at once, and the duel is won. Spartus is actually much of the same duel. He does have a few more monsters that are strong without the Wasteland boots, but his strongest monsters still are Mystical Sand, Brachioradus, and Great Mammoth Goldfind. 3 equips and Raigeki with no Exodia pieces? Oh, thank you. Spartus attacks directly with Dark Magician. Another equip and no real monster can use them all, so I just set Wing Egg Elf. The High Mage destroys it with Dark Magician and attacks directly with Summon Skull. Okay, 3,000 life points left. I'm gonna need something soon. I really didn't want to see an Exotic piece. No other choice. That's Elf's Light and activate Raigeki. Fuses Crawling Dragon number 2 with an appetite to make skill gone and leaves me with 800 life points. Finally draw something to dump all these equip cards onto, and 3500 defense is too difficult for Modest to attack over, so the duel's over at this point. That was a pretty close call. but still being able to win means I have no reason to go back and farm yet. Let's go to the Mountain Shrine to catch up with our good buddy, the Mountain Mage. He uses Old Faithful a lot, confused Crimson Sunbird a lot, and he has a high chance to stop defenses in his deck. 5 Shrine Mages, he is definitely the most difficult. Turn 1 is a good start, equipping 2 Elf's Light to Spirit of the Heart, which Mountain Mage destroys with 2-9 Thunder Dragon, and I could recover from that point. He calls me an idiot again, I'm pissed, and I rematch him right away. Immediately drawing 2 pieces of Zodia's bad sign, I use Yami and hope for the best. Mountain Mage sets the field to Mountain again, and you ever notice that change in the field Yami is much shorter than any other field? Anyway, I don't have anything good in my hand, so I decide to play some trickery against the CPU, and after jumping the other cards, I leave Aquamador and attack because the CPU has a monster in their hand that can destroy your strongest card. I'll not consider fusing, and since I don't want to see 2-9 Thunder Dragon at all, I can manipulate Mountain Mage to not actually fuse him. My plan works, and he plays a Crystal Dragon to take my Aquamador out. I dead draw, keep the equip, and put another Aquamador in defense. Fortunately, the plan doesn't work for long, and Old Faithful comes out. Getting worried now, all I can do is set Winged Elf. Mountain Mage decides a 3300 attack monster is too weak to gamble on, I face down card and buys me a turn. I get the perfect draw and set that wall immediately. Unless he activates Stop Defense, this duel is finished. You may think I'm an idiot, but he's the one standing in the landing zone. Up next, I Mage Tenza, who has a ton of threats for this duel. Strong monsters like Guided Dragon Champion, Saga of Thunder, Old Faithful, Peaceful Dragon, and even Meteor Black Dragon. Cards to boost those already strong monsters, and magics to wipe our board and significantly increase our defensive power. I should have field advantage to favor me with Yami to start off. Tenza is not fucking around and uses Dragon Treasure on Peaceful Dragon to get a ridiculous 3700 attack monster on the field. Good news is that Winged Elf can fuse into itself, and with 2 equipped boosts with Guardian Star advantage, my Mystical Elf can stop Peaceful from taking the rest of my life points. He sets a monster, I set Widespread Ruin, which couldn't have come at a better time because next turn it Tenza boosts Peaceful Dragon again with another Dragon Treasure. And with that, I stopped the High Mage's best intent deck going with defenses. He used the Shadow spell and boosted a Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon later on, but by then I drew more good cards to boost my Mystical Elf further, so the only chance he had was to like Raigeki, which he did. While I was busy taking ass kicking names, Tiana got herself kidnapped, and because Jonah was useless no matter what year it is, I have to go to the Bad Shrine to get him back. Restore block to Tiana is the Labyrinth Mage. His deck is actually quite bad for this stage of the game, but he has a few cards in his deck pool that if he ends up getting, can beat you in a couple turns. Take Guardian's by far his best card, and he also has Stop Defense and Reverse Trap to completely burn our defensive plan. We set a Widespread Ruin, and Labyrinth Mage activates with Suijin. Because he summoned Suijin, I was assuming that was the strongest monster, so Aquamador +1 equipped boost would be enough to stop his next turn. I was wrong, and Lab Mage destroys my Aquamador with Saga and Thunder. I draw Spirit of the Heart to use the other equips in my hand to stop Saga, and while I'm at it, I dump it. While they set the trap card, I put Saga in defense. Drawing 4 monsters means it's time to put another Widespread down, which ended up being the right play because Bald Mage activates Stop Defense and tries to destroy my Spirit of the Heart. Still haven't drawn an Exodia piece, so I dump my entire hand and put a Lab in defense. Mage has expended his offensive options and just sets a monster. I draw 2 more cards for Spirit of the Heart, and despite his trap card possibly being first trap, I take the chance because if it isn't, then the duel is pretty much over. Gamble pays off, and even if he draws a Guardian, it isn't enough to do it against me. Right, left, right, and we make it to the end of the maze just in time to see Tiana passed out from being force-fed GHB and surrounded by hungry fuckboys. Quite nice situation, Haitian retreats, and we face that for the second time. Assemble strong monsters and disruptive magic cards that can revolt consistently. Even has 1 out of 2048 chances for Meteor D and Beast Skull Dragons in case you're feeling unlucky. Can't really do much with this hand except dump. Set a summons Blue Eyes for Dragon to destroy my Spirited Heart, which is good considering what else he can play. My next hand is absolutely ridiculous. With all these bows and arrows, the only threats left are set of magic cards. However, because of how the CPU determines whether or not to actually activate a magic card, I'm in more danger of setting a one, so I can just cruise to a win. Without giving too technical an explanation, it's similar to the suicide glitch I've gotten until about before, where cards aren't taken into account when the CPU is making a decision. So we'd see a 3500 defense Mystical Elf, while the CPU is seeing a 2000 defense with monster. Instead, I was ecstatic that I'm using the mechanics of the CPU of mine, and since I kind of get a high off of it, I go right back to beating on some mages. Heading to the Forest Shrine, the low mage here doesn't have much to get over on defenses. His strongest monster is Dry Gumo, and he can have reverse trap, but that's it. Starting things off, changing to field advantage, which the Forest Mage changes right back. I boosted Aquamador with secret arts, and already there's very little Forest Mage can do. Predictably, he sets a monster. I set a Widespread Ruin. He sets a magic card, which can only be Sorcerer of Thin Light, Eradicating Aerosol, or Enemy Boost. I draw a Labyrinth Wall, and that's it. Forest Mage has no more options to try to beat me. It's probably the easiest of low mages, so no surprise this was a breeze. High Mage of the Forest Shrine and Odysseus is a stark contrast to the Low Mage. Actually, the other challenge runs I've done so far have shown otherwise, and Odysseus has been an easy duel in the past, so it'll probably be the same this time. You can have 3 very strong monsters and a ton of equips to boost them, but doesn't have any magic cards we should be afraid of, except maybe Harpy's Feather Duster destroying our widespread limits. I get a fantastic starting hand, but if Odysseus plays perfectly Ultimate Great Moth turn 1, then I'm in serious trouble if I waste all the equips, so I just set behind the wall. The High Mage sets a magic card, I set Aquamador, and Odysseus summons the normal Great Moth and destroys my Aquamador. Seems like it doesn't have Pug'em, so I feel comfortable just setting Illusion of Space's Mage. He sets another magic card and puts Great Moth in defense, giving me more time to get something big on field. Rankeki is a great draw to stop anything he can throw at me, hopefully he doesn't have Harpy's Feather Duster. Odysseus uses both face down equip cards on Nagagal number 2, making her a BB 3400 attack, but Odysseus is like Villager 3 and only has a 25% chance to attack your face down monsters, so the odds are in favor of my monsters being safe, and that's exactly what happens. He destroys my Faceless Mage with his Nagagal. Back to waiting for another card. I see Spirit of the Heart, but when her Guardian Stars appear, I realize 3 equips plus her Mars Star is enough to stop PU Great Moth, so now I just have to hope he doesn't destroy her. For my relief, Odysseus decides to destroy only Labyrinth Wall, which gives me the opportunity to replace that heart with a Kimbo Blows. I boost Spirit of the Heart one more time, and Odysseus reveals he indeed has a perfect build for Great Moth. I just got lucky that he didn't. Percent chance to play it on turn. And that's the duel. Still haven't experienced a true struggle against this guy, which feels so weird because I have time against him when I was a kid. Anyway, we snag another Millennium item and venture straight to the last shrine on the list, the Meadow Shrine. Despite the Meadow Mage being the go-to to farm for all the great cards, his deck is relatively weak. The strongest card is Judge Man, and you can stop defense, but unless he starts using the cards he can drop in free duel, this will just be as easy as the Force Mage. I boost Illusion of Space's Mage and Book of Secret Arts, and that's game. The thing that a mage could have done was actively stop defense, but he didn't. So the entire duel consisted of mindlessly dumping cards until I won. At this point, I'm kind of hoping High Mage Confer puts up more of a challenge just so I can talk about the duel rather than speed to it. Confer is considered to be the hardest of the High Mages solely because of the raw attack power of 2 of his cards. Black Skullger and Gate Guard. The latter getting a field boost, making it 4250 attack. And also boosted further with Sword of Dark Destruction, and has a couple other equip cards for the rest of the monsters in his deck. One saving grace is that both of his powerhouse monsters are Moon Guardian Star, so the Sun Star and Art Mystical Elf and Spirit of the Heart will be very useful. 4 monsters and 1 piece of Exodia, not the hand I'm looking for, I dump everything and hope Confer does that. I set Widespread Ruin for some protection, which Confer triggers with only a Gaia the Dragon Champion. I can boost Spirit of the Heart to 3000, but I'm worried that the only reason Confer is summon Gaia the Dragon Champion is because he can use Guardian Star advantage to take out Labyrinth Wall, so I hold off on using the equips. Fortunately, I draw another piece of Exodia, so I don't have much choice now but to give a couple books for Mr. Glove to read. First, such a trap card, which can only be Fake Trap or Invisible Wire for some reason. Seriously, why does he have such a weak trap card? Anyway, those books we gave Mr. Glove were training manuals on how to properly shoot a bow, so we gave her one of those. First, sets all his monsters in defense, and never did anything worthy of note again. What's wild about this run is we've now got 3 duelists whose strongest card is Gate Guardian. All have a good chance of having one, and yet none did. Is this a Gate Guardian-less run? No, probably not. After defeating Capura, Senator the Salesman ambushes me to say he's got a new inventory of Jamaican Pikachus and he'll give me a great deal for such an exclusive item. But just like the rest of his wares, it's bootleg trash and I tell his ass to take a hike. Alright, well we had our fun with this Spellcaster Fairy deck, but looking at the final 6, there's no way it'll get through the gauntlet. Furthermore, there isn't much I can do to upgrade the deck. I don't like that Spirit of the Heart loses stats under the effects of Yami, and I really should be focusing on boosting Labyrinth Wall. So, we're going back to familiar territory and farming his shit for rock types. Of all the types in the game, rocks are definitely the most defensive focused. Wasteland also boosts dinosaurs and zombies, which they too have some decent defensive monsters that can fill up the deck. It's not going to be an easy grind, but at this point in the game, it's necessary. I pretty much win once for every loss, which isn't bad. Win 2, and already off to a good start, getting Pumpkin the King of Ghosts. Win 7, drops Mega Zowler, no rocks yet, but at least getting Wasteland boosted cards. Win 10, drops the first rock type, and it's a great one, Neum Golem. Next win drops Boulder Tortoise, which isn't a rock, but is still high defense. Win 14 gives Megami, just to make farming a shit a little easier. Win 28, Senga the Thunder, the first time it has ever dropped for me, so I was really tempted to use it. Win 33, I get Necrodel number 2, another great addition to our current deck. Win 34, drop Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, now I'm wishing this was a Thunder only. Finally, Win 1 drops Giant Soldier of Stone. Make it Stone D, but that's okay, we can live without it. After Heishin, I then farmed Villager 1 for a while to get Fake Trap so I can gain tech some of the other duelists for better cards. It only took 14 wins to get it to drop, and now I can go back to strengthening a new deck. Next on the list is Rex Raptor. He drops only one card that I'm interested in, Invigoration. He also has the best odds of dropping it at 36, 7, 20, 48. So this may take a while. Ah shit, he decked out when I wasn't paying attention. Oh. Well, does this count? I mean, I was trying to beat him with Exodia, but he kept fusing from the hand, so that's not my fault, right? You know what? This counts. I'm a new rule that if I'm trying to beat an opponent with Exodia and they build themselves out, the win counts. This still makes farming Pegasus ready attacks impossible because I would be normally trying to deck him out instead of beating him with Exodia, but I can keep this shiny invigoration that Rex has graciously dropped in the first duel. The deck is still not ready, so I go back to Young Kura to get some equip cards from him at A-Tech. Win 53 drops Black Pendant, which I can use on several monsters, and Win 80 gives me Bray Castle, Megamorph's little brother. So here's the new deck. Nothing below 2000 defense, a lot of equips, and a trio of wastelands. To get to the 40 card requirement, I buy Millennium Shield. Let's give this a shot. I've grinded a lot of hours for this moment, and they are all about to pay off. Okay, so the deck isn't ready yet. 7/3 is currently the hard roadblock of the run, no surprise there. The dude's deck is ridiculous. Doesn't duel like an absolute moron, has 20 card hands, and can see your face down cards. So letting him do whatever he wants is a big no-no. But I have to deal with this problem, and how do you deal with any problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories? Real, baby! This time I'm farming Mountain Mage for Giant Kid of the Cure Master because I may not be able to get Megamorph, but I can fuse one. Took 27 wins for Mountain Mage to drop it. Still not confident the deck is good enough, I move on to Meadow Mage as he drops 2 very good magic cards at very good odds. Took only 3 wins to get Dark Hole and 23 wins for Spellbinding Circle. Alright, revise the deck a little bit, and this is what it looks like now. 15 monsters, 9 equips, 9 magic cards, 1 wasteland, 3 widespread ruins, and of course Exodia. 3 Dying Ketos to fuse the Megamorph, 3 Spellbinding Circles to fuse the Shadow Spell, which would then fuse with the 1 Dark Fuse of Light to make Swords.
Well, this backfired.
Bray Castle and Invigoration to boost all my monsters, and Black Pendant can boost Millennium Golem and Pumpkin in the King of Boots. Alright, let's do it. Let's take on the final 6. First up, the 2 Guardians of the Bat Shrine, Reptile and Robin. First doesn't have too much for us to worry about. The strongest monsters are Metal Zoa and Zoa, and he has a high chance for Shadow Spell. Second is a little tougher. He has a wider range of strong monsters and a high chance to have stop defense, but is similar in difficulty to his brother, probably. Whatever. Not the best hand, but Labyrinth Wall, well, it's a wall, you know. Sonic boost Launcher Spider with Machine Conversion Factory. I'm glad it isn't Metal Zoa, or I would be in trouble. Next turn, I draw Invigoration and boost Lab Wall with it. The only threat left is Shadow Spell. Civic sets a monster. I set Rangeki for insurance. Civic sets again. Red Castle's a good draw, but I save it for another monster in case the Shadow Spell does get played, which it does next turn. Launcher Spider destroys my wall, and Labyrinth Tank attacks me directly. I dump Giant Soldier Stone and boost Millennium Golem, which is just enough to defend. Civic sets a magic card, and puts his monsters in defense. I draw a 3rd Exodian Beast, so my hand size is getting pretty small, but thankfully I draw another equip card for Millennium. Civic sets up the magic card, he only has 3 to choose from. I draw another Bright Castle to boost my Golem, and now I can assume that I've won. Took longer than I was expecting. I mean, 7 is the easiest of the final 6 by a pretty wide margin, so I'm nervous this deck still isn't good enough. We're gonna jump right into the next tour. Well, that's a good hand. I fuse it to Megamorph and use it on Labyrinth Wall. Neku has no other option but to set a monster.
Fuck.
Wow, another great hand. Power this deck is really showing in this duel. With 3 boosts, even if Neku uses stop defense, Millennium Golem's attack stat will still stop him from getting my life points. So that's game.
Yeah, nope, I can't do that.
Using 2 Kiddos to Megamorph feels awesome. I recommend doing it if you're having a bad day. I'm not sure if it feels better than using 2 Spellbinding Circles and Dark Piercing Light to Source of Revenge like though. I would think Revenge on H-Shin. Mirror match the run. He has strong monsters, he has Rangeki and Megamorph, and he has Exodia, which he can assemble fairly easily with his 20 card hands. Not a good starting hand, so I dump the monsters. Shin summons Meteor Black Dragon, and I'm happy it's not Gate Guardian. Pumpkin the King of Ghosts plus 3 equips and its Neptune Guardian Star are more than enough to stop Meteor Black Dragon. Shin sets a trap card. I set Widespread Ruin in case Shin starts getting crazy with Megamorphs. He summons another Meteor Black Dragon and face down attack. I activate the one Wasteland deck, and the field is going to stay that way since Shin doesn't have any field cards of his own. He sets out the trap card, pretty much the equivalent to passing his turn with our deck. I boost Labyrinth Wall with an Invigoration to have a second monster on the field for insurance. Third pass turn for Shin. I set out a second Widespread Ruin. Shin makes a move by equipping Megamorph to one of his Meteor Black Dragons and immediately triggers a Widespread Ruin. That turned out to be his best move for the whole. One more Football Pumpkin secures my life points for safe. Kinda. Shin has the cards to take me out, but because the CPU is programmed to look at the field in a specific way, he'll never actually go for the kill. If you could activate that face-down Raigeki, I'd probably be screwed.
I don't get what the point of the plant monsters are supposed to be here.
The challenge run is even possible.
Shouldn't they fully focus on just
We finally have all 7 Millennium.
the Machina and
Seto swoops in out of nowhere.
Katakuri archetype?
Now we have to defeat this cherry-picking sidelining bitch. Unfortunately, bitch is the farthest description of Seto III, as he plays the strongest monster in the game on turn 1, 57% of the time. Very often has more than one, has great supporting monsters, and the 3 best magic cards in the game. 20 card hands, extra vision, Seto has it all. I'm jealous. Decent start, getting Widespread Ruin. That applies on turn 1. Seto instead triggers it with Meteor Black Dragon. Since he played an MPD, I'm assuming that was his strongest monster, and a Labyrinth Wall +1 boost is enough to stall him. And it is, as he summons another Meteor Black Dragon.
fucking Kaiba Man as a card?
Magic cards in this game just feels good. It's like I have options rather than play big monster by confusing every turn. Anyway, Seto sets a trap card and destroys my wall with Beast Skull. I set another Widespread Ruin. Seto sets a magic card. I use 2 Bright Castles on Labyrinth Wall, making it 4,500 defense, so now I'm safe from monster attacks. Several turns go by, and I find out I got real lucky in this duel, as Seto not only has a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in his deck, he actually has 2. So for him to have 2 and not draw either of them on turn 1, he draws half his deck is... Well, I do the math, but I suck at it. Now, normally after Seto is defeated, his life is threatened by Shin, who was returned from Shadow Realm, but this time, all that is skipped, and Dark Knight wakes up wondering if we just got obliterated. Fortunately for me, Dark Knight was not playing around. He doesn't have the strongest monsters, but that ends up being a big problem because the AI is now more inclined to use all the magic cards Dark Knight has in his deck. Stop Defense, Shadow Spell, Raigeki, Crush Card, Harpy's Feather Duster, Megamorph, Tremendous Fire, he used them all. This duel was really pissing me off because I wasn't expecting it to be harder than Seto III, and every time I lost I had to go through the gauntlet all over again and basically prayed that Seto wasn't going to turn 1 for my ultimate like he so often does. I lost 8 times in a row against Dark Knight. I only ever got the duel once every 4 tries through the final 6 because the Shin or Seto were both true bullshit and ended the duel before I could attempt to set up. The duel we're about to watch is the culmination of 161 total duels since I started trying to beat the final 6. I never would have predicted Dark Knight is this challenging to beat with Zodiac deck. It turns out his weaker monsters are what makes him so insufferably good at eliminating my defenses. Great start, I dump Giant Soldier Stone and boost Labyrinth Wall twice with Break Castles. Dark Knight sets a monster. I get a second Spellbinding Circle to make a Shadow Spell if I need and activate Wasteland. Dark Knight stays passive with another set monster. I boost Pumpkin the King of Ghosts with Black Pendant. He sets a third monster, which is such a stark contrast to the 8 other attempts at beating this guy. I draw the final piece to Swords of Ravine Light combo and release all the endorphins my brain can produce. Dark Knight uses Shadow Spell on my monsters. It's a good thing I activated Swords last turn. I boost Millennium Golem twice, so Dark Knight can't attack over me with monsters alone. Dark Knight summons a face-down attack position for a start monster, which can only be Black Skull Dragon. I dump my third Spellbinding Circle and boost Millennium Golem again. He sets a trap card. If Swords of Ravine Light was a normal card you could earn, this challenge run would be so much easier. I set one of the 2 Widespread Ruins, which Dark Knight brushes away with Harpy's Feather Duster. He also destroys my Pumpkin with a Sword of Dragon. I set the second Widespread Ruin. Dark Knight also sets a trap card and puts a Sword of Dragon in defense. Activate Raigeki. He sets another monster. Pretty surprised how many monsters Dark Knight has in his deck this turn. His deck pool is heavily skewed towards matches of trap cards, and many monsters have minuscule chances to be selected. For example, that Sword Arm of Dragon he used has only a 4 in a 24 chance to beat his deck at all. Back to the duel, Dark Knight activates the Yami field card that uses face down Cosmo Queen and it triggers a Widespread Ruin. I'm daring the last 10 cards from the deck, so dumping cards is the go-to play until I draw the last 2 Exotic pieces. Sets up the trap card, I draw a 4th piece, so I'm almost there. After 160 duels, I don't even know how many hours. Being this close to victory is a huge relief, but also completely nerve-wracking because Dark Knight can still pull out some nonsense, like activating another shadow spell and weakening all my monsters. It's turned out to be a blessing in disguise because next turn he activates Crush Guard and I only have one monster on the field with over 1500 attack now. It also uses Guardian Star advantage so Giant Mech Soldier can destroy my Giant Soldier of Stone. I sent that out of the Cure Master. Dark Knight now decides to use Raigeki to destroy the rest of my monsters and attacks directly. Thankfully, I have a monster, and it's a good one. Dark Knight is done activating things and sets a trap card. We're almost there. Just don't do anything crazy, Batman, for fuck's sakes. Dark Knight summons a face-down attack position Sunstar monster, which can only be a Blue Eyes Red Dragon. God, I love Labyrinth. After 36 drawn cards, I finally defeat Dark Knight. If I lose to Nightmare, I'm gonna snap. Good news is, he drops every single magic trap card he has in his deck, and only uses monsters for his final duel. I can just summon a 4500 defense monster, I'll have successfully stalled Nightmare until I inevitably draw the final Exodia of this challenge. I set a Waxberg Room to start, Nightmare triggers Upagate Guardian. I boost Pumpkin the King of Ghosts twice and send it to Neptune Star so it can stop a potential Meteor Dragon. Nightmare sets a monster, I boost Pumpkin again with Black Pendant.
Why would the sniper have an aggro effect?
I realized I just need one more equip card and Pumpkin, which 4500 defense, so I dump everything in my hand. Nightmare destroys the Minimishu Warrior I didn't mean to fuse with the Tryhard Dragon. I don't get an equip this turn, so only thing to do is dump all the monsters. Nightmare plays a 5th defensive monster, and there it is, another Black Pendant. Duel and the final 6 are finally over. What a grueling final 6. I'm incredibly relieved it only took one try to beat Nightmare. Oddly anticlimactic to think about it. Sinnoh 3rd and Dark Knight were such difficult duels, and Nightmare was just brain-dead brute force. So is it possible to beat Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories with an Exodia deck? Barely. Well, having all those restrictions in place definitely made it a lot tougher. If I didn't give myself so massively, this would have been an easier time. But I wanted to complete a challenge run where there was no doubt that I was only winning with Exodia. If I just made a big beat stick and continuously attacked the monsters my opponent put down and I'd wait until I draw all 5 pieces, there would literally be zero challenge in that. As much as this run frustrated me, made me rethink strategy, and made me farm and free duel, I'm glad I've done it, and I hope you're glad you watched it. Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. Feel free to comment what else you'd like to see from me. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you haven't already, check out other challenge runs I've done. Alright, see you in the next one.
Might be useful. Or that wasn't. Fuck. Hello? Okay. Hey, who the hell was that lady?